Christmas Oranges, retold by Linda Bethers, illustrated by Ben Sowards. Once there was a little girl named Rose. She lived in an orphanage with other children, and she loved them all. Mrs. Hartley, the woman in charge, loved Rose and took good care of her. Rose was very happy. One winter, when Rose was 8, many people got the flu and were very sick. Many of the children at the orphanage got sick, and Mrs. Hartley tried to take good care of all the children. But she got very sick and could no longer take care of the children. Rose was put on a train and sent to another orphanage. When Rose got to the new orphanage, she was sad and scared. She didn't know anyone. It was not warm and comfy like the place Rose used to live. There was not a nice person like Mrs. Hartley. Instead, a mean man named Mr. Crampton was in charge. He didn't seem to like the children. A girl named Emily, who was 10, made friends with Rose. She told Rose that there were many rules to follow. If you did not follow the rules, you had to skip a meal or do extra chores or stay upstairs all by yourself. It took a while for Rose to learn all the rules so she would not be punished. Soon it was time for Christmas. Rose and Emily liked to look through the windows at all the pretty trees and decorations. Emily said that Mr. Crampton didn't like Christmas. He would not even put up a tree until after the children went to bed on Christmas Eve. Emily told Rose that a very nice old man in town always gave a box of oranges to the orphanage. Mr. Crampton used them to decorate the tree, and then each child got to eat an orange for Christmas breakfast. Rose was very excited. She had never eaten an orange before. She did not know how she could wait 3 more days for such a treat. On Christmas Eve, Rose was so excited that she could not sleep. She waited and waited. Finally, she couldn't wait any longer. All the children were still asleep, but she went quietly out of her room and tiptoed softly down the hall. Rose crept to the stairs and knelt down. She looked in wonder at the beautiful tree with its special oranges and bright candles. After just a minute, she tiptoed back to bed and fell sound asleep. She didn't know that Mr. Crampton had seen her. It was against the rules to leave your room at night, and he decided to punish Rose in front of everyone. On Christmas morning, Mr. Crampton told everyone that Rose had broken the rules. She got 3 punishments. She had to stay upstairs by herself, had to scrub all the floors, and would not get a Christmas orange. All the children were sad. They knew how much Rose wanted to taste her very first orange. All the children but Rose went down for breakfast. Emily felt so sad that Rose couldn't have an orange. Then suddenly, she got a wonderful idea. She whispered it to the other children. When Mr. Crampton came in, all the oranges were gone, but there were no peels. He was happy that he had scared the children enough to follow his strict rules. That day, the children did all their chores. At dinner time, they took their oranges out of their pockets and ate them. Then they quietly went upstairs for bed. When they came in the bedroom, they saw Rose curled up on her bed. She was asleep, but there were tears on her cheeks. Emily quietly woke her up. Rose started to cry. She was still so sad that she had missed Christmas and the chance to eat an orange. Emily hugged Rose and said, "Don't cry. We have a surprise for you." She took something out of her pocket. It was round and was wrapped in a white hanky. Rose hoped so much it could be an orange, but she didn't think it could be. All the children watched her with excitement. Rose opened the hanky, and there was an orange. But it was not an ordinary orange. It was made up of a piece from every child's orange. First, she smelled it. It was wonderful. Then she tasted it. Everyone laughed and hugged each other. Almost like magic, more clean hankies with pieces of orange in them were pulled out of pockets. Each child got to have one last sniff and one last taste of the delicious oranges. They had all agreed that the oranges had never tasted so sweet. Many years later, the children were grown and had families of their own. They could buy all the things they wanted, even oranges, but they never forgot the feeling they had as they ate their oranges that one special year. Oranges that tasted so sweet because they had been shared with a friend.